So he's gonna press record. Let's do this. All right. So first of all, I should introduce myself. So my name is Shea Watson. I have a wife. I have a daughter. We live in the Silver Spring area, and I work for the Army. I've worked for the Army since I was about 18 years old, and I'm a little older now, just by a little bit. But just a tad. But so throughout my Army career, I didn't do what I was doing now. I actually was fighting battles and going to war. But when I got out of the Army, I was hired by a company that works on medical maintenance. And so what is medical maintenance? You know, what do we do? Our official title would be biomedical engineering technicians. A very large word for people who work on medical equipment. So what do I do and where do I work now? So I work with Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. So can I ask everybody a question? Why are we on Zoom? What's going on in the world right now that we are on Zoom?
You can unmute
the virus. Yeah, the pandemic.
Yeah, the pandemic, right? The coronavirus, right? So I work. Say that again.
Virus, but a overwhelming lack of common sense.
Okay, that's okay to say. That's good.
That's true.
Yeah. And so what do we do with that? What do we do when we run across that? So the field that I work in, and the reason that I'm important is because I work with a bunch of scientists who take on these missions of pandemics, of viruses that might get out of control. One of the biggest things that they work on is helping the military person do to protect them so that they can do their job. So I work in research or work with research people. So right now we are actually working on a vaccine at Walter Reed Army Institute of Research for the coronavirus. Hey. Now, why is my job important? Everything in science has to be documented. So everything that a scientist does has to be annotated, written down. It has to be compared to, it has to be shown so that when they get to a certain point, and let's say they have to go backwards, they can go back to a point and start from that point to keep going on until they come up with the possible vaccine. Medical equipment. Does everybody know what a centrifuge is? Let's start simple. Who knows what a microscope is? We should all know. Everybody know what a microscope is? All right, cool. So what do researchers do with a microscope? They look at little microorganisms, right? They look at really small things to see how cellular level things happen. So they get their microscope and they look through it. Well, that microscope has to operate properly. It has to move properly. It has to focus properly. It has to be cleaned properly. We work on that type of equipment. Who knows what a centrifuge is?
I bet Google does.
Oh no, I can show y'all real fast what a centrifuge is. Boop, boop. And we're looking at images, right? I love Google. Doesn't everybody love Google? So Google, this would be a centrifuge. Everybody see it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, a centrifuge is centrifugal force. So it runs on RPMs or it runs on G's, right? How many G's it spins per hour, and what it is used for is separation. When you set a centrifuge up, you have to have a certain amount of revolutions because what's it doing? It's spinning, right? Yeah. And it's giving me a known number, 50, like let's say 5,000 RPM. We take test equipment in to test that equipment to ensure that it's spinning at 5,000 RPM. If its temperature is 72 degrees, we go in with equipment to ensure that it's 72 degrees. Now, I know I'm talking to a bunch of math people, so you guys are gonna have to figure out the math in this, okay? But that's some of the things that we do. So why do we do this? Because we gotta track it. Yes, ma'am. Because I'll take questions. I'm good like that.
Not exactly a question, but an observation. I've already found some math. RPM would be, I believe, rotations per minute.
Mm-hmm. Revolution. Yep.
Revolutions per minute. Okay, sorry. And that is, I've already forgotten the term for it, but the slope?
Okay, there's a slope. Yeah, you can say.
I guess.
It's a slope if it's linear, but it's yeah, then we're talking about rotation. So Nick, this is actually geometry,
Yes.
right?
No, but hey, no, good try. I mean, look, you were telling me something I don't know. Anyways, but it's, yeah, because I mean, let's put it this way. When you do this for so long, sometimes you don't think about the math that's involved. There is always an equation. There's always multiplication. There's always division. There's always decimal points. I also do biological hood
Wait,
certifications.
Can I ask
Yes.
a question?
Yeah.
What are you trying to separate in the centrifuge? You said
So in a centrifuge, you have cells. So let's say you have blood. Blood has cells, right? So
Uh-huh.
you guys know like what cells are, correct?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So in blood, there's cells. When you are spinning the blood, what you are doing is creating a separation of the plasmas and everything else with the cells.
Wow.
So what it does is it forces it down to the bottom. That way they can study just the cells. And it's a separation technique. And when you do that, there's some things that require certain temperatures. It's amazing, like how involved science is with, you know, breaking these things down and getting these things to the molecular levels. And it's really, for me, it's fun because I'm a part of something that is doing things for people. The shots, a lot of the shots that you guys have gotten in life, right? I don't know. I'm sure we all have had shots of some kind. That came from science. There's a lot of things that come from science. Ours just happens to be research on, we do HIV, we do malaria, we do all frontline, so COVID. We do the flu. Has anyone heard of bird flu?
Yeah.
Yeah, bird flu, avian flu, swine
Never heard of
flu. Who hasn't?
a bird flu.
Oh, that's a good Google searchable topic. Write that down. Write that down for science. But
Outbreak in Britain, I believe,
What's
a
a
few
bird
years ago.
flu?
what's a bird flu? Okay, so man, we're gonna get into the science side more than we're gonna get into my side, but that's okay. Avian bird flu, right? Actually is a flu that is found in birds. And what it did over time, it changed. And instead of only being in birds, it actually jumped across into the human species or the mammal species or whatever. And so what that did was created work for us in finding, okay, why did this do this? How can we protect you guys? Because really, the end of the day, it's to protect people. So when we're doing this stuff, what other equipment? Who's in science right now? Who takes science or remembers science or like science? Anybody? Do you guys ever use any kind of equipment at work? Let's take a beaker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does a beaker have increments on it?
Yep.
Can you show us what a beaker is?
Yes, I can show you what a beaker is. It's
I
coming.
believe
I had that up.
I remember a Muppet named Beaker.
Give me 1 second, guys. I don't have a PowerPoint. Sorry.
No, this is better.
But it's actually, so beaker, another term for it would be graduated cylinder, right?
Ah.
And I am loading, sorry. But, come on, why won't it load? Here we go. So this is what a beaker looks like.
It's a measuring cup.
No, it's
And
sick.
And for everyone else that doesn't know what a beaker or a graduated cylinder is, it's a measuring cup. But in that measuring cup,
Beaker was a Muppet.
is beaker a Muppet?
Yes, there's a Muppet named
Oh,
Beaker.
okay, cool. But we measure. So there's measurements that are involved. There's ensuring that these graduated cylinders, you know, hold the amount of fluid that they're supposed to hold. Now, every piece of equipment that I use to test, look, I'm a very broad guy. So you guys know an X-ray machine, right?
Yep.
Anybody gone in for X-rays? Is anybody? Yeah, doesn't that like
Yes.
kind of, that's not fun, right? Because usually when you're going in for an X-ray, it hurts. But so we work on X-ray equipment. We make sure the X and the Y axis and all of those things align.
Oh,
Right. We make sure that the depth, so the radiation penetration is set to the right level to penetrate. So my bone density is different than y'all's bone density because you're younger. So in order for them to shoot a picture on me, they have to increase it. And for you guys, they'd have to decrease it. And that's all formulas that are involved. So we have to go in and ensure that these machines work that way. Now, go ahead.
Can you tell us, this is fascinating. Can you tell us, like, how does an x-ray machine take an x-ray?
Oh, okay. So the way an x-ray machine takes an x-ray, right? Googleable, always. Google's awesome. But they actually put in, so nowadays it's more digital. So in the old days, they would put in a film. So it was like putting in a camera film.
Okay.
Today, it's the same thing. It's like digital film. And they so every time you ever seen them slide the tray into the table, and then they take the lights and they align the lights to that tray, what they're doing is they're shooting radiation across. So say these are your bones. So radiation is coming across. And because of the density of your bones, it's creating a picture on the other side. So with radiation, it's about time, distance, and spacing. So when you, and also protection. So that bone is actually acting, when they shoot it, the bone is acting as kind of a block. And so what it does is it shoots that image onto the x-ray or onto the film. When you have a crack, because it's cracked, radiation is going to go through that crack, and it's like light shooting down through. Let's say you have a stick, right? Mm-hmm. And you have a dark room, and you put this light on it, and you drill a hole through it, right? Where the hole is, light's going to come through, and that's what's going to show on the other side. So when you look at it and you see that white, have you ever looked at X-rays? Anyone? I know you had them, but did you ever have a chance to look at them?
Yeah.
Let's see if we could pull up an X-ray. This is kind of cool for those who's never had one. Image. It's kind of neat. These are cool. Let's see. I'm sure everyone has already beat me to the Google, but that's okay. So you see how there's a white on, let's look at just the hand. And so you see the bones that are in there, right?
Yeah.
So the radiation doesn't penetrate that as well as it penetrates the air. Therefore, it gives you an image. So if there was to be a crack somewhere in that bone, light, it would actually penetrate through there and it would show you the crack.
But what you're saying is if you have a thicker bone density, you have to shoot more radiation. Right.
Or you have to intensify it or decrease it. Yeah. Depending on how big the bone is, how big you are. I mean, there's all kinds of different things. You know, film size plays a difference, but they have to do calculations. And honestly, I'm going to be real with y'all. Most of the calculations these days on that kind of stuff is done electronically. It's like your calculator at home. It's like, okay, yeah, I got it. Okay. Back when I was first starting out, when we would work down to like, so everything, like you have electronics, right, guys?
Yeah.
You guys have electronics. I know y'all got electronics because first of all, you're talking to me on electronics. Every electronic has a board, right? They have control boards, power boards, everything. All of the electricity that comes in has to be converted down into lower voltage so that it can operate your machine. So when you look at the back of your device or on your little thing, it says, you know, you can plug it into 120, but your outputs are usually like 5 volts or 10 volts or 6 volts. And they have a little board. We used to actually open up the boards. These days, you just replace the plug. But we used to open them up, put oscilloscopes, which is signage rate is signage waves, right? Power waves, right? Sine waves, and power waves. And you would actually be able to, through calculations, figure out the right wavelength. Nowadays, I mean, I can't, I'm gonna be honest, I came in at the tail end of that. Nowadays, we just replace the whole board. But there's other things that I do. I also work with biological safety cabinets. Now, everything that's bad in the world, you need to protect yourself from, right? So let's say that they're working with COVID and they need to protect themselves. You don't just work with COVID like right here. If I'm sitting here talking to you like this, I don't just open up COVID and start playing with it. You have to protect yourself. So this is where some calculations will come in.
Very important calculation.
Yeah, you need to make sure that these biological safety cabinets are exactly. So I know that in movies, some of y'all are too young maybe. I don't know what movies y'all watch, but you might or might not have ever seen something that looks like this. Maybe in a lab scene or a space scene or something along that lines. Has anyone seen this?
Yeah.
I believe
A
I've seen
medical
it.
safety cabinet.
Yeah, it's called a biological safety cabinet. Has anyone ever seen this?
Pretty sure
Like-
I've seen
I don't
it.
think so.
Right, like show, okay, because I know
haven't.
I know your ages are kind of young, so movies like Contagion and that kind of thing you probably haven't watched, but I'm not sure. But anyways, what that does, there are definitely calculations in that because we talk about airflow.
Oh.
So CFM, right? You
CFM.
have, does anyone know what CFM is?
CFM.
Yeah, CFM.
Uh-uh.
Yep. Does anyone know what FPM is?
Stop just putting letters together today.
So FPM is feet per minute,
Oh.
and CFM is cubic feet per minute.
Okay. I'm taking notes.
Right. Now, has anyone heard of cubic feet per minute? I know I'm blowing people right now because this is totally different math. So what we do though, this is kind of cool though, because in what we do, you have to calculate your feet per minute, or you might have to calculate your CFM. Right? Now, to do that, you have to figure out feet squared. So how do you figure out feet squared? Does anyone know?
From what?
Just in a calculation, how would you figure out feet squared? Does anyone know that? So you would take your length in inches by your width in inches, right? So let's write this down. Everybody got a pencil? Does everybody have a pencil? All right,
Yes.
cool. I like that. Uh-oh. Oh, dang, look at that. Teacher is on board. That is what I like to see. So I'm going to give you guys some numbers, right? Let's say 122 inches, right? Because what we're trying to do first is find area, and area is actually feet squared. So you need to find feet squared. And there is a calculation that's used, and you guys can actually look this up and figure it out why. But let's say 122 inches wide by 18 inches high, so height. So what is that calculation?
You mean 122 times 18?
Oh,
Yep. What is it? Who's got the answer?
Come on, Philip. This is all you.
It's quiet. Did everybody leave?
Oh, they're here. They're doing the math.
2,196.
Bruh, I just got the answer.
Well, I got it faster.
2,996.
2000 what?
Not 196.
Okay.
Now I'm going to give you a known value, right? Right?
A known value?
Yeah, known value, and that's 144. So this would be a calculation for you to find feet squared as an area. So then you take your 2,196 and divide it by 144. And you guys, I know you guys got calculators up. Was that?
15.25.
Right. So we would say 15.25, right? And that would be feet squared. Now, why do we need this number? And here's the reason why. There's these people that work in the facilities. We call them facilities, right? And when you're talking about air velocity, you're talking about cubic feet per minute. That would be CFM. So when we're talking about the velocity, we're talking about cubic feet per minute. Now, when you're talking about a scientific hood, like the biological hood that I showed you, every calculation or everything, all of the requirements are actually feet per minute.
In what?
Feet per minute.
Yeah.
So if my hood, if they were telling me And remember, just feet per minute, FPM.
Okay. All right.
So we're gonna feet per minute. So let's say that I'm told, and now that 15.25 was our width, right? Plus our height. And our area is that width and that height, right? Now let's say that the manufacturer tells me I need to have 100 feet per minute going through that area. Just write that number down, 100 feet per minute. That is my requirement. But my building people who are controlling the airflow, right, only talk in CFM. So see, we have to make these two numbers meet. We have to give them a number that they can understand, right? Does that make sense to y'all? I mean, am I too deep or too lost?
No. So someone's
All right.
talking in one unit and someone else is talking in another unit.
Yes, there you go.
Can be-
Yeah, and so what we're trying to do is convert this unit, right? So we have a hood requirement of 100 feet per minute. What would I tell the building, right? How much airflow would I really need? How much velocity? And you know what we have to do there? We take that 100 feet per minute and we multiply it by the 15.25.
And what does that give you? Aiden, what is 100 times 15.25? Do you know? Who knows? Which one? We got any sixth graders here?
Boy, they left. They're like, nah, we're good. This guy's boring. No, just
Can you
kidding.
repeat?
What is
What's
100 times 15.25?
1,525.
Right.
Bruh.
And that so that would be 1,525 CFM.
Bruh.
Right. Now, okay, so here's my challenge to you guys. Here's my challenge to you with those same numbers. Now, this is for the older kids, I'm sure. With those same numbers. Now, everybody wrote that down or took a picture of Justin's start screen,
Yes.
right?
Respect.
Yes.
Okay. So then I'm going to give you a couple numbers. You ready? We'll say 90 is our width by or times 120. And that's our height, right?
10,800.
Okay, hold on. No. Just wait. I'm going to give you the whole equation because we're
What
going to
are
get
the
an answer.
units? What are the units for that?
That not yet. That's just inches. Sorry, inches. I apologize.
No problem.
And now we have a inflow velocity requirement of 80 feet per minute. How many cubic feet per minute does the building facility people need to provide? And you have all the numbers in front of you from our discussion. So you have the known number, and I'll just give it again. 144 is your known number. Just now, but now you guys have to remember how to do it. And I want to hear some good answers.
6,000.
6,000. What? Yeah, what's the justification? You just can't say. Shout out 6,000.
Alright. 90 times 120 is 10,800 divided by 144 is 75.
Hold on. I got 90 times 120 is.
10,800
Thank you. The next.
divided by 144 is 75.
Our known value.
Times 80 is 6,000.
There you go.
Is that
Who
it?
else got? Who else got 6,000?
Raise your virtual hand, guys.
Awesome. Good job. So see, we do math. And so, because a lot of times it's kind of like when we go overseas. So I do a lot of overseas travel as well. I go to Kenya, I go to Europe, actually the Republic of Georgia. And they actually work in a whole different measuring system. Even the power, like in your wall, right, at home, when you plug in your adapter, you're getting like 120 volts, 15 amps, 20 amps, somewhere in there. In Kenya, all of their power runs off of 220 volts, 50 amps, 60 or whatever, 50, 60 hertz. And so there's a lot of conversions that take place like this in my job. We have to understand not only our American standard, but we have to understand the metric system. We have to understand the European standard. We have to understand the different wiring. So that is why those numbers, converting them over from feet per minute to CFM are so important, because different people work in different standards.
What is
So
this
like,
different wiring?
huh?
What's
What's
the
that?
what do you mean by different wiring?
So even the wiring is color coded different.
Oh.
So I don't know if anyone's ever seen wiring in a actual electrical outlet or in a plug or anything, but we run green, red, and black, where European runs blue, brown, and green. So it's kind of different. So when you travel, you have to know calculations. Also, I travel for the government, and they're like nickel and dimers. They're like accountants. They like to make sure that they don't lose any money on your trip and you don't cheat them. So actually, when I come back, I have to do a lot of conversions too. I have to do currency conversions, because in Kenya, they don't work with US dollar. They work with Kenyan shillings. So in Kenya, if let's say right now the rate is for every dollar, it's 135 shillings, right? I'm giving you another formula. So for every $1, there's 135 shillings. So if I have 480 shillings, how many dollars is that?
$1
Equals 135 shillings. And let's say I'm saying a let's say $65 or 65 shillings.
465 shillings?
Yep. How many dollars would that be?
$4.33.
Nick, don't answer all the questions. See?
Yeah, let's raise our hands from now on. We're gonna run. That's 400 though. Remember, that's 465 shillings. Perfect. Okay, so let's do this. If I have $12,653
$12,000.
$653 USD. How many shillings would that be? And give my younger kids some time here, guys.
And how did we do the first one?
Oh yeah, and plus, how did you get the answer on the first one there? So who wants to answer this next one?
Mr. Phil, I can answer it.
Go for it.
To find the 12,653 US dollars into shillings, you would have to do 12,653 divided by 135.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Justin, are you gonna be you be the teacher and you?
Okay. Does everyone
Teacher.
agree with that?
No.
Is that what Nick did for the first one?
So Nick, why don't you explain how you did the first one?
Basically, for the first one, for shillings to dollars, I did, so $1 is 135 shillings. So I did 465 divided by 135.
Okay, so who was the person who just answered?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That would be me.
Okay, so let's try doing that again. So how would you do the equation? If she went from dollars, right,
Mhm.
to shillings, or no, from shillings to dollar, and now we're going dollars to shillings, and she divided going from shillings to dollar, right? How would you get dollars into shillings? Is
Can
that
you
clear,
repeat that
Justin?
again?
Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah.
Maybe you can clarify.
Well, $1 is 135 shillings, right?
Yes.
So how much would $2 be? You tell me that.
Oh, you would have to do 135 shillings times 2.
Times
Yes.
2, right? So you multiplied, was that 70?
Yes.
So
70.
whenever we have the dollars to get to the shillings, we don't divide. What do?
We multiply.
We multiply.
Okay, so do that for us and give us the answer.
Okay. Okay. I got 1,935,909.
Wow.
Yes. Shillings.
So you
So
are a
that's
millionaire.
and that's off by just a little bit. So what are you calculating? Are you using a calculator?
Yes, I am.
And did you do 12,653 times 135?
Yes.
Let's try it again. 12,653 times 135.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did times 153. I meant
Okay.
135.
Awesome. And then so what is your answer now?
It would be 1,708,155 shillings.
Awesome. Awesome. So see, that is actually another part of my job. So every time I travel, so every hotel I stay in, right? Every mill or ATM transaction that I do while I'm in Africa, it actually they give it to me in shillings. So when I come back and I'm looking for reimbursement from the government because we're paying on our credit or government credit card, or we're paying, cash out, I want to make sure that I get reimbursed for what I've lost, right? So I have to convert and do all of these calculations so that I can get reimbursed for the money that I put out.
Can I tell? Can I
yeah.
say something?
Yeah.
I had to when I went to Budapest, and I forget what it was, what their currency was, but yeah, I tried to take money out of the ATM, and I was like, oh, I'll just take out this much, and then I thought I was taking out $100 or something, but I think I accidentally took out $450. Oh no!
So that will hit you kind of hard.
Yeah.
So it's always important to know the conversion, right? If you travel overseas, this is for you guys in the future. I mean, I know every single one of you will have an opportunity, but look, it's really easy. Everything is given to you. I don't know if you can see that, probably not, but Oanda, if you go to oanda.com.
Oh, wow.
Or just look it up on Google.
Yeah, right. But it's easier if he pulls it up. OANDA. OANDA. Yep. And this is actually a cool website for future. Come on, man. I know y'all. Oh, that's not it. That's Donna. I don't know what is that. Oh no, that's Oanda. Was it? Yeah, but that's wow. That's currency converter. Type in currency. There we go. And then look here, you can go from US dollar to euro. You can go from US dollar to anything. Do a drop down. I mean, you've got Afghanistan, you've got Angola, you've got from A through Z, all of the countries. Oh yeah, Bitcoin. I hate that thing, man. No, just kidding. But look, even Bitcoin, that is something that is starting to happen, y'all, online. So, but basically, I know we're getting way out there, but this is part of my job. This is part of my job. This is, this is what I do. So I'm gonna give you guys another calculation.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Oh, look at that, $7.
Yeah, yeah. So let's say that my hotel room, my hotel for 1 week, my first week, I'm staying in Kenya for 4 weeks. The first week, my hotel is
You'll be
12,300.
staying in Kenya for 4 weeks.
Yeah,
Weeks?
actually, I actually go for a month at a time when I go, and then I go 2 times a year. So I go every 6 months, and I go for a month. And the only reason I won't be going in August is because of what's going on right now.
Coronavirus.
COVID.
Coronavirus, right?
Pandemic.
And the government doesn't want to pay for the 14 days of quarantine going in, or the 14 days of quarantine when I come back. But anyways, that's another story. So my first night is 12,835 Kenya shillings.
First night or first week?
My first week, sorry, my first week.
No problem.
My second week, I'm moving into a nicer, like the city, and my hotel room, right, in the second week, and they're more up to date. It's $200 US.
Oh. Shut up, don't do that. Okay.
And then the next week, the fourth week, I'm going back out to the smaller village, right?
Third week?
And I've got to pay shillings again, and this time it's 10,118. And on the fourth week, I'm going back to Nairobi, man. Nairobi is like the place to be, guys. It's like this is where all the rich people go, and you have to spend a lot of money on hotels. And this is true. This is actually really true. And so on my last week before I leave, I had to pay $235 US. Now I'm going to give you guys a formula, right? And so $1 equals 106 Kenya shillings.
I thought it was 135 or something.
Well, I just looked it up on Owanda.
Wow.
And I'm using actual. It's 106.19.
Oh no, the decimals.
Yes. So, how much money did I spend in US dollars?
Well, I know you spent 200 on the second week. That's easy.
I mean, there's some easy. I make it a little bit easy there.
Yeah, spend the shillings.
And while y'all figuring that out, so this is part of the things that you'll do when you finally start to work, or if you travel, or when you budget your money, at home. What you have to pay, what has to come out of your bank, what if you work for a job, they'll reimburse you. It's really cool. But you want to make sure that you get paid, though. You want to make sure that you don't have to pay out of pocket for anything. So it's very important that you get these numbers right.
So if you get the numbers wrong, then they'll just make you pay for it.
Well, no,
Yeah.
I mean, then you lose money. So, or you have to go back through filing paperwork, and government paperwork is already like, it's a very difficult process.
Does anyone have the first week?
I do. I have all of
Yes. Yes.
You don't want to have to spin the wheel. How about
I have it.
oh, uh-oh. Who's got the first week?
I do. Nick.
I
Anyone?
do. Carolyn.
Carolyn.
Carol came in first, or well, I don't know, but I think Carol
I
didn't
did.
answer.
I came in first.
Who did? Well, it's okay. Nick, you got all the answers. You're doing great.
Carolyn.
Fine.
Is it $120? Point.
How'd you get
Yeah.
that?
I divided 12,835 shillings divided by
Yes.
divided by 106.9.
Wait for you, okay? Yeah.
So if you round to the hundredth, right? What would your answer be? Round up.
Always round up no matter what.
Yes. So what would you round up to in the hundredth? I think hundredth's right. Yeah, hundredth. So what would your answer be? 120.8 what?
Oh,
What are the decimals?
So where's the hundredth on the decimals?
Look at that. Shay's using the place value. Fifth graders were learning about place value this summer.
wait, the 0?
Was it 0?
So would it be the 0.6? It's 0.86, right? So 6 is the hundredth,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah.
Yes.
So then you'd want to round that up.
Why? What's the
That's-
number after 6?
Yeah,
8.
what is the number after 6? So that means you would round
8.
up. Yeah. So then that would make it what? 120.8
120.88.
or 87, right?
87. The 6.
Oh, 87.
Yeah. Good job. So on all of our answers from here on out, we want to round up to the hundredth. Unless you're 4 or below, you'll round down.
No. With currency, you always round up no matter what.
Oh, see, check her out. See, she does know something. Good job. You do round up. You and watch this. If you round up, you never lose money. Okay. Anyways. So good. Okay. So what's the third week?
Can I answer?
No, let somebody else answer. Come on. Tabitha, what's the third week?
I don't know. $95.28.
29 cents.
What do we got to do? Multiply or divide?
Divide.
Divide.
Divide again?
Yes.
Because in the first example, we had to divide. And in the second one, we had to multiply. Oh, okay. Woo! Buffalo chicken for dinner.
So then what is the answer? I missed it. I'm sorry.
95.28.
And in currency, you always do what?
Round up.
So then what would your answer be?
Wait, 95.28 because the next number is a 2.
And you could do that. But let me explain currency. When you're doing currency, it's better for you in balancing your books and ensuring that you get paid the right amount to just round up that hundredth, that decimal point at the hundredth. So it'd be 95.29.
So my math teacher was wrong. Are you trying to?
But no, but when you come to rounding, you're absolutely correct. On any other thing, like if I was doing the calculations for a decontamination, and I came up to this number and it was 95.282, I would just do 95.28. I wouldn't want to go higher because I'm putting concentration levels higher. But in money, you would always want to round up because that's easier for balancing your book. If you're putting it into savings, that's a whole different thing. But you lie to yourself and act like you don't have as much. But so that's a good answer. So then we have all of our knowns, right? Because I asked, what was the question I asked?
How much money did you
The
spend?
total.
Yep. So then our younger people,
I also have.
what is my total US dollars for 4 weeks?
Augustine, what do we have to do with those numbers? Ah. Who else? Let's see. Let me call on someone. Yeah, a whole bunch. No, Nick.
Augustine. Yeah.
Augustine, there you are.
Yeah, he went to ease himself.
All right, well, this question is for Augustine.
Yeah, come on, they're waiting for you. AJ. Okay, come quick.
So cool. I never have the dads in my classroom, you know? Make sure their kids answer. I wish that was the case for.
Yeah, incidentally, I totally forgot. I just took off today. I didn't know it coincided with this date.
Okay, we can come back to Augustine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else do we have?
How about Tiam? Tiam, what do we got to do with these numbers?
Add them.
We got to add them up. Very good.
So let's add them up and give me my total.
AJ, they're waiting for you. Let me go fetch him now.
And Mr. Justin just typed them in nicely so you can see them.
Can I answer it?
And I guess I should be doing the same thing.
I can't give out an Amazon gift card unless someone answers the question.
Can I answer
Can
it?
I answer the question? I have the answer.
Okay,
Yeah, Augustine is here. Come on.
go ahead. What's the answer?
$651.
And
16.
And 16
yes,
cents.
good job. So that is the amount of money that is on my credit card that I would have to ask the government to give me back so I can pay it.
How many cents?
Well, just
16 cents.
16.
Awesome, good job.
well,
So see,
actually, it's going to be a bit more than that because that's just for housing. You also need food and travel.
well, yeah, but I was just looking for the housing. So that's perfect. So you understand. So everything, even though I work on medical equipment, I test medical equipment, I make sure it calibrates right. We always use math because we travel, we go to work. Look, every hour of my day has to be accounted for. So every minute of my day, I have to put towards the work order. We call it a work order. You know, when you take your car to the mechanic, or your parents take their car to the mechanic, and then they get a bill and they said they worked like 6 hours at this cost. We do the same thing. And so we track. So if I work for 8 hours, I have to make sure I have 8 hours on what we call a work order. So everything that I do, actually, we use a lot of math. And I hope that that's been good. But now let's ask questions or answer questions.
Well, yeah. Can I just ask everyone? Like, I was taking notes. Can someone give us one thing that Shea said he does, and it requires math? What? How about go back to the beginning? What were some of the instruments that he uses? Go ahead, Nick.
Centrifuge?
Centrifuge. I'll write it down. Okay, so we had a centrifuge. And you spell that like this, maybe? No. What else? Ellen, Keith, Philip, Jehan. What other
Anything else? I got quiet. Did I lock up?
remember the beaker? What was the name of that cabinet? You guys are muted. You got to unmute yourself. You can just call out. What was the name of the cabinet that he worked on? Was I the only one taking notes?
Can you please say that again?
What was the name of the cabinet that he worked on?
What?
Everyone say a biological safety cabinet. Go ahead, unmute yourself and say it. Biological safety cabinet.
Biological safety cabinet.
Yeah. And what was the math involved there? That was really interesting. We had to look at the airflow. The building workers use 1 unit for their airflow. Hey, Philip. And why are you the one? And the scientists use another unit for their airflow. So we have beakers, we have centrifuges, biological safety cabinets. What about the electricity? What was he talking about in terms of electricity? Aiden, did you catch that? Or anyone, really? In other countries, do they use the same electricity as us or different?
Different.
And how is it different?
So
There's like different levels of power. So like different
Levels of
watt,
volts?
different level of volts.
Yeah, 20 volts.
Yeah, and even in Kenya, he didn't even say amps. He said hertz.
Oh yeah, if I went to Hertz, I'd really confuse y'all.
Yeah. And even the wiring was different colors. Why can't we just keep it the same colors?
I agree. Why can't we go to
everyone
metric,
else
y'all?
keeps it the same color. It's the U.S. to decide to do.
Because if you cut the red wire and then you blow something up, but then in Europe you cut the red wire and it's fine. Or could be
Right.
And then in currency, of course, that was the grand finale because that's really important. Money management.
Look, I'm telling y'all, if you get anything out of math, learn money management. That will keep you going. I know you're all young and you're like, what? No, look, out of every allowance that you get, just put 10% aside, man. Hide it somewhere. You'll be amazed how fast that'll multiply itself. I remember. Yeah, go ahead.
Does anyone have any questions for Shea? They can be math related or they can be non-math related.
Uh-oh.
You guys have any questions?
I know. Yeah, okay, Nick, go ahead. I see your hand. I'm looking for other hands. I'm like, come on, somebody ask something. But go ahead, Nick.
You don't want to hear my question.
Come on, hit us. Let's see.
You were talking about airflow. Well, you have to
Oh, no.
Mr. Field knows exactly what I'm going to ask.
Oh, okay. No, hey, we work with airflow. There we go.
Okay.
Everything. Look, all molecules move. There you go.
She's going to ask a question about the swallow or something.
That's okay.
It's an unladen swallow.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone have a question about the Army? She was in the Army for like 30 years.
Do you know how much Army awards you did? Well, kind of.
Any questions? I know my life might not seem that exciting, but it really is. I get to travel. I get to travel the world. I get to see all different kinds of people. And you know what? It makes it fun. But hey, it's been fun. Thank you, Mr.
What was your favorite place to go to?
Oh my gosh. I've been like to about, I don't know how many different countries. But I really do have a heart for Kenya. I think that's been my longest place to be. I've been there for 20 years. I go every 6 months and I stay for a month at a time. So I've forged a lot of good friendships. And so I would say Kenya would be top of my list for where I like to go.
That's cool.
David is asking, do you recommend this job for others?
Oh, absolutely. I think that our job field is growing. You constantly are learning because technology is constantly changing. And so it definitely keeps it exciting. It keeps it fun. You'll work on something for like 3 or 4 years, and then in the third or fourth, fifth year, they come out with a totally different one, different design, and you get to learn stuff all over again. So if you like to learn, it's a great job field to get into. It's a biomedical engineering technician.
Aiden is saying you said you had 2 jobs, but one of them you stopped. Uh-oh. Hold on. You said yes, but one of them you stopped. So which job do you think was better?
Oh, so no, I worked for the Army. And when I was in the Army, I was in the combat arms. So basically I fought wars. And to be honest, the second portion of my life working as a medical maintenance person is a lot safer. And so far more enjoyable. I'm home more. My wife loves it. And my daughter definitely loves it. So
One more question. David is saying, what did you take to get here? Like, were there distractions or barriers? David, what?
okay. So no, I think I can understand. So how did I get here? Here's what's cool, guys. And I'm not saying that going to school and college and honestly, tech schools, they're awesome. I worked hard. I met somebody and they offered me a job. I've always been technical. And so basically all of my learning the last 20 years has been on the job training. But, you know, I think that if you move forward in life and you strive to learn and you strive to want to know more, knowledge is very important in how the direction of your life goes. So search for knowledge, go after knowledge, never stop, run, keep going, and just learn, because I think it's important. And you know what? Have that fire to want to learn. Cool?
Yeah. Can everyone unmute yourself and say thank you so much, Shay?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good
Can I
one.
leave?
Can I
All right,
leave?
guys.
I'm leaving, guys. So we'll talk later. All right, Jackson.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, man.
Bye.